Hey everybody, Mr. Rogers here from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Oh no, Mind's Eye Visual Guitar here. That's where we are and what we're doing today. And yeah, so hey, I'll say hi in the camera. Hello everybody. And enough about me. Time for visual guitar madness that I think is going to be a totally awesome lesson today. As a matter of fact, I think this is going to be the one lesson about getting an introduction, like a primer into what as a jazzer doing to make it that can make it pretty easy to sound like jazz. Are there any easy ways to conceptualize this? And so I think this could be the lesson you're looking for, because this is the lesson I was looking for, because this is where I'm basically was jamming to today. Here's a necessary backstory I got to tell you before we get into this lesson, which is going to be great. I mean, listen to our great backing track that we're going to jam over today. It's going to be so awesome, and you are going to be thankful that you watched this lesson. Now, I started out a couple weeks ago, or just a week ago, recording this lesson, and I made up something that, because I started getting the ideas. And so I'm like, okay, now that I kind of can, are there any places that I could create on the fretboard that'll allow me to get in between notes and know where the nice, cool colors can come from over the rhythm? That's key, but we're going to get to that. And so I made up this lesson that showed this really cool way you could look at a scale and just go here and there, and it works, and it's cool. And I'll still use that and throw it in for some mileage. But as I did that lesson, I came up with something a little bit simpler. And I even came up with something else that I thought was simple. So in other words, there isn't one exact way to skin this cat. And that's why you got so many people trying to tell you what they think you need to learn to try to do it, to try to get that jazzy sound and stuff like that. So, but today, as I was setting up my final lesson, you'll see here as we get through some of these sheets that, or screens that, you know how my lessons work if you're new here, that they're not even complete, because as I was jamming, I really found something that I'm like, I can just teach this. This works for what I'm trying to, for this next step I'm trying to take in my guitar playing. That's not just stale, cracker crust noodling. Scales are cool. Scales are a great way to know a framework. It's like, you're just building houses out of frames and leaving them with no decoration, not understanding how to decorate them or something. So enough about analogies. Let's stay with the on topic here. But another thing about this lesson. So now we know how great it is, and we're about to flow into it. I need to presume something about you, the audience, to keep this tangent free, to kind of stay on focus here. I need to know that you know already you kind of get an idea, even if you only have a loose idea, as long as you know that there's chords come from scales, and so each note in the scale has an associated chord, and you may know that it's 1 major, 2 minor, blah, blah, blah. So therefore, a 2-5-1, you understand the progression. It's going to be the 2 note, or the 2 chord, which is going to be minor, the 5 chord, which is a dominant 7th, which is important because it's where all the fun happens. Not all of it, but there's a good reason for it. And then we're home. All right, we're always thinking away and home, attention and release, call and response. So there we are with the 1 chord. And so in our example, if you can hear that note, that's a C. We're going to do the easy training key, which always sounds beautiful anyways, and it's in a great spot on the guitar, the key of C major. This is the standard 2-5-1. Right, so that being said, so we know our chords. In the past, I've showed you some ways to do enclosures everywhere. That's a pretty cool lesson, and you're going to use all these little tricks and tips now that you learn, as now you're going to throw in a repertoire. But you can't really build your skill on a bunch of little tricks. All you know is a bunch of little tricks. You need like a starting framework, and that's kind of what I think we're going to give you in this lesson here. Once you get this framework down, and we're going to use, what kind of framework am I going to give you? What you already know, which is pentatonic. Why pentatonic? Because you can see pentatonic is like a shell that fits over a scale. And so how can that be useful? It turns out that the whole goal is to make judicious use of these intervals. And you think about it, when this 2 chord is going by, you got ba da ba dee ba ba da dee dee da beep ba doo da da ba da ba da bee ba 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 da da. So do ba boom toodle da ba ba. You can go real simple. You can take your time and just make it 4 notes. You can 8 notes. You can put a couple of combinations of weird intervals in there, or polyrhythms in there, and everything. But the point is, you want a framework that you can use like a pentatonic scale to create just the notes you want to hit, which also leaves those scale notes as like specific choices. What a great thing I said that in a lesson I just recorded, and I ran out of disk space, so I had to re-record. Here we are. Is that, so what this is boiling down to is jazzers are listening. They're really listening. And you're making, like I said, judicious use of these intervals. They are telling a story, coming from somewhere, going somewhere else. And that's what you're hearing these guys doing. It's not like rock where it's just all you need is the palette. And there's still thought going on in a great rock solo too, and thought to the rhythm as well. But the jazz, it's really, you can see how we're really going to think about some things here, but I'm going to show you how it can be really easy to get to these points where you can handle these intervals. And this is like, I don't know why, but like nobody was telling me this, or I don't know. They probably were, but I just really couldn't conceptualize it. So let's start here. Do we know this pentatonic scale? So easy, right? So basic. We're actually going to do something with this today. Well, sort of. All we need to know is that to get started today. But we are going to use a different shape, but let's just start here. You know this shape, and you might say, we're using this because we need to know a little bit of this. We're using we're in the key of C major, and what we want is a C major pentatonic. You say, well, Mark, this is A minor pentatonic. If we consider that as the root, but if we consider this as the root, so C major pentatonic. And so let's actually, though, try a different shape while I try to find my fan so I don't sit here overheating while I'm trying to get this lesson. All right. Friendly Bahama breeze happening. Okay, so as my screen goes nuts here, we're going to move up this pentatonic here. So do you know this neighbor shape here? Of course, we got this one in between the blue and the gray. Let's move up one more, and in the gray. This one is going to suit us very well, even though they all have the same set of intervals. Kind of what we can do, what I'm finding I like to do, really works in this spot. So we're gonna go with this today. Now, so here's how we're gonna start. We've got this shape here. Never mind these gray blocks. I was describing something in my last video that we're gonna get to. But anyways, when it comes time for tricks. But to start with, we want our basic framework. So let's just hear, not even knowing anything, let's just hear what this blue scale shape can do over a 2-5-1. Because that's always cool to do, like, actually hear some music here. So it's going to have a little counting. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. notice that I just went anywhere. I'm going to resolve. We're going to talk about that. Vary my rhythm. Jump shapes. Resolve. So the point there, before I carry on too far, because it is just fun to do that, because hey, everything sounded kind of kosher. So what we got here, when we listen and say, okay, we've got a framework that is, we got a safe place to really get some cool, I can get some cool mileage out of that. I thought there's a little bit of jazz missing, lots of color tone opportunities were missing that I just didn't try, and so that is what's available. So that's why we're going to use this shape now. How can we do some colorized stuff here? And I'm going to kind of show you right in the beginning what we can do. Some will sound good, some won't. I'm going to experiment. I don't even know what I'm going to play. Definitely lots of freedom and color tones happening there. How did I do all that? I could never do that until today. Well, first of all, something very easy is happening. Once I've established those safe tones, and they almost work almost anywhere, that means that anytime I almost want, I can use the blank notes as the rhythm steps. I don't have to know like where this weird note came from, or because you'll kind of get used to them anyways as you play. You'll know which ones you like, where you like them, and kind of you start to learn what they'll do. So you just gotta. And then I made the rhythms drunken. You know, it's a smoky bar. It's jazz night. You're drinking. I'm not advertising for anything, and I would suggest that you probably never touch alcohol for your health, right? But that's questionable as well. So sometimes I'm do da da ba. Sometimes I'm just falling down. Stalling. Like as soon as you feel tipsy, but you feel great, right? In that kind of stupor kind of way. We all know that's not really feeling great. All right, so I don't want to mix some not so great messages here, but there is a correlation if you ask me. So it's jazz clubs after all is where it all happens, where the cats are playing, where the MFers are really messing around with intervals. You know what I'm saying. So let's go a little deeper. Let's kind of now study some of these intervals in this basic shape, because now that we can establish like kind of what we're doing, let's know what we're doing, where we're going, and see if it's easy. So here's something to know. Over the D minor chord that starts with, we don't really have a lot of notes to start with anyways. So there's not much to know other than you don't have to know any of this I'm going to show you about. You can just clean house for that. Wait for that to go outside if you want to. But here's some things. Just staying inside. Let's just talk about inside notes really quick. The green and the blue, and not that one that says flat third just yet. So listen to this. I'm going to play 5, flat 7, and root. So yeah, just show you the little cursor moving there. So make use of that. But anyways, I'm sure you got it. Screwed up my fingering and picking, but you get the idea. I can make a little couple things. There's lots of little statements I can make just on the green 3. My nice cool hip 5, a flat 7, and a root. Now you know you say, well, the flat 3rd is cool too, and yeah, it is. It's cool to use it like there. It gets a little bit crowded. I like to save that as a special note. And so there's idea number 1 you can get some mileage of. Right? If I'm on a 2-5-1 solo vamp, a band is giving me 4 bars of one key of, the key of C, 2-5-1 for 4 bars, 4 loops of 2-5-1 in the key of C. That's what I'm trying to say. And I might take the first time around, just the green notes until I'm over the other chords and doing my other things that are very simple and based on this. But the second time around, I might add in 1 of the blue notes. As you see, that we are afforded the 2 and the 4, and the 6 is not included in this little makeup. And I think that's for a great reason, because when you include the 6 and the flat 3rd, well, now we're back to the whole scale. It's crowded with ideas. That's why that doesn't work. It might work once, but it's... See, I had to kind of break it up, to break up the monotony, just to... I'm not going to use all those 4 in that square. There's too many ideas. It's too many clusters. The frequencies are too close. It ain't jazz. It ain't what cats are doing. Okay? I mean, it might be like, look, any of this stuff is for you. Like, maybe that's the sound. If it's a sound you're looking for, you do it. But it's not what I'm looking for right now. Doesn't have that kind of vibe. So I'm going to say, yeah, no on that. Now I know the reason why I'm going to play this scale. Makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm keeping that 3 for special uses and that 6. And guess what? Primarily, those are going to be like keynotes that you want to play over the next chord. So I'm kind of also saving those as well from the audience's ears until the special time to unwrap that present, which is the G. Now those really sound hip to that. Those are notes that are really hip to the 5 chord that's coming up. It's our kind of our thing with this chord progression, and it's not much. It's all we got. So we kind of want to kind of cater to it using our ears, using our thoughts, using the intervals with some sense behind them. You capiche? You know? You capiche? Capiche this? Capiche? Okay, so stupidity aside. That's what I'm going to be thinking over the D. Now, but we're not static over D. That's quick, so we don't have to really worry about this too much. But I did want to, let me show you this too. Here's an example of the green. Now the blue. Hear that? It's got its own kind of sound. See, to me, those are 2 different ideas. There's the green idea, now the blue idea. Back to blue. So you could just do that. Now if I'm going to go down here, that sounds cool, but it's a little too sparse, so I might add in that flat 3rd there. outer space. 4 is your outer space note. And it sounds cool over a minor chord. 4 is kind of not really kosher over a major chord, and you're going to see that we get to avoid that without having to do anything automatically. Because watch what happens when we shift our thinking to the C major. So let's move away from there. We've kind of done everything that we can think about for this D minor 7, and it's quick anyways, and we're trying to get to this G idea. But now let's do something really cool that I think is going to really take this home. You can almost still just get away with using this shape, or maybe this is the reason why this shape works over the entire progression, is because watch what happens when we think about this as the resolve to C, or getting to the C. So here's what I mean. We've got a beat that is going to represent when that C, the 1 of C. So here's the 1 of D, for the 1 of G, and the resolve. But here's a secret. Now there's another bar of C. That's going to be very important in a second. So there's that second, so it's 4. It ends up being 4 bars. A bar of D minor, a bar of D, of G dominant 7, and then 2 bars of C major 7. So what that creates is this relaxed flexibility. You're not worried anymore. You're relaxed with the cats on stage jazzing. So here's what I mean. This 6 or that 2 are colored the way they are because you really kind of definitely, well, not definitely, but for the most part, you won't totally want to resolve on the 6 or the 2 on the strong beat, the first beat of that C. However, if you do, while you're in the process of having your fun time over the G, because the G is where you just fly. Just an example there. Maybe not exactly, but something more like that. I'm down on the 6. It's not going to sound great. It's going to be kind of floating there over the C. Now, maybe once again, in the beginning of a couple of bars of this, maybe that is where I want to resolve that line. So there I'm resolving on the 2. It can work, but you get that extra bar to walk it up to one of these home notes, any of the green notes in our pattern, right? And when you do land on the 6, because let's say you were just kind of like, oh shit, here I go, because I'm usually aware once I'm headed down from the last bit of that G dominant, and I'm about to get into C, I'm like, oh geez, here I am heading down the 6, crap. So I want to go back to the 1, but instead of just being born and going, on that beat, I'm going to do something dumb and drunk, because that's where you can put the jazz cat stuff in. Like, what you want to do is trying to learn just where you can put some of this stuff in that doesn't take a bunch of uber concepts. So let's hear if that's real, if what I'm saying is true. So I'm going to maybe I'll target the 3. There, got it on the 3. Root. We'll do the 5. Back into it, but try that again. Now, oh, cool. 6. Oh, cool. Here's a special trick. And right there at the end, I could just hear. It's kind of like thinking, hey, where the hell am I? And then I'm like, where does that want to go? Yeah, I know where that wants to go. Where that green root is. Now I'm gonna try this. So let's do another round. Now I'm gonna try to do like I'm gonna switch melodies. I'm gonna try to do a green melody, then a blue note melody, and I'll try to tell you where they are. So green note melody. Green. Blue. Green. Blue. Blue. Green. Blue, green. So, blue, green. So, as you can see, it's just, you get like freebie noodling out of this scale shape over that progression, where before I would have just been like, oh, blues bends? What are you doing? I mean, yeah, it's got a place, maybe uncomfortably numb, but not here. Just trying to do cool rhythm, cool melody things. And listen to them intervals. And now you can, because you know what you're hitting, because it's kind of easy now to get this. So one of the tricks that I was talking about, when I heard there was that kind of pull note right at the end, right as the... What is that? You'd think maybe it sounds like a 7 pulling into the 1, but it is pulling up a half step, but you're using the flat 3 over the major 3. It's a real common trick. It's that minor over major trick. So that's a cool one to employ at certain times. Just way to really hold comfortable tension, like acceptable tension. It doesn't really sound like just a junk note that you're trying to go some weird, nowhere, unexplainable place with. Like you're for example. I mean, you might be able to find a place to excuse this sharp 5 resolving into a 6, which is going to be a pretty hard sell. But maybe that's where you wanted to be for some reason. But you're thinking about this stuff, and you know what's going on, which is the big key. And you can see how it allows. I was barely thinking about any of those outside flavors, other than placing them rhythmically to get to stopping points, and considering where I was in the progression. Some of these outside flavors are going to sound best over the 5. So we uncovered one trick. we're already reasonably mastering some outside flavors here, and so that's good. Here's a couple of more. They're still pretty typical for a jazzer, common tricks here that you can employ. So over the 5 chord, many people know that common trick. Some people are thinking about it down here, starting from the 2nd fret on the A string, a diminished kind of run here. Forgive the sloppy playing, but I like to think about it from up here. So you can employ that just down here. To start with, you can whip this in the middle of your progression. You get one of these. That's right in the scale that we're playing today. Oh, no, it isn't. Hold on here. What am I doing? Okay, so it isn't, but so anyways, you can slide up a half step when the from this. So you can be to get back to that target the C over the 1 there. So let's try that. Let's hear that. I'm going to basically play this blues trick. I need to find this one, but my scale has me down here. So I'm going to remember that. When that 5 comes, I'm still going to get into the 5. On the first beat, I'm going to be on one of these notes. Then, on the and or the 1 of the 2, of the 2nd beat there, I'm going to have to jump up to the 12th fret. You remember your tritone has an extra fret there because of the G to B string shift that we're always stumbling over as guitar players. Here we go again, trying our trick out. I think I was a little late on that. Let's try again. Not bad. Let's get a little better. So we're at 1, 1, 1, 1, 5. Not bad. Let's put some jazz rhythm into it. So, kind of, sort of. So we can just do it down here. You might find some of these tricks that you try, little experiments, maybe they work, maybe they don't. I thought it was okay. You want a way to get back to that C? I think I'm going to walk into it from a half step below. How about that? So we're going to go. I think that sounds right. Or we could even enclose it. Easy to screw up. But anyways, you get the idea. So I went like this. If you start at you can end the progression if you get to the, I think it's this, from the second beat of the, from the and after the second beat of the 5 chord. So in other words, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2. You should land on the 5 of the C right at that time. That's a cool way to go. Now, why does that work? Because I think one reason it works, you got that note below the 6. So where's that coming from? Well, number one, it's kind of cool in the way that you could pretty much are only going to play that over the 5 chord is where it's probably going to fit in like the most, like, and sound the hippest. I have fitted in over other parts of the progression. Namely, I think the rest of the C major, you can kind of get away with some stuff there too, I've noticed. But it really works over the 5 just because it plugs in correctly. Like you're building the tension over the tension chord, the 5 chord. So that's kind of how it works. And maybe because we're also thinking of this chord. C from the G, which is basically, or I can think of those 2 notes. That's from the working with the G there, working with the C for resolve. So that works, but another reason it works is this. The one thing you can do is try to outline a little melody and hide it in your lines. So what I was trying to do is, there's my note I want over the D chord, now over the G5 chord. Once again, it's that chord. And over the C, hey, how does that work? Boy, that's kind of neat. It's just 3 notes in a row, and that's the melody sliding down. People like that, and connects everything. And it's kind of cool because the connection isn't really, it's not diatonic, but it works because you're making a connection to the melody, and this is passable over that 5 chord. Gives you some nice pull. So you're trying to do, you can kind of hear just doing that kind of spells out that progression. You know a little bit more about following the changes or working the, making the lines follow the progression. So there's so another bunch of concepts I can give you. I'll just give you a couple really quick here to wrap up 251, just to make it really cool, and we'll step outside this easy little thing we've discovered here. Over the that 5 chord. One thing that what we kind of talked about earlier is the 3 and the 7 there, and making sure you select them during the 5, work them some way into your melody, play around to try to get them in there, sneak them in there. Don't be, obviously every time that's like, that's not going to cut it for jazz. You're being a little brainless if you do that. So you got to find a way to, just kind of. Did you hear how that outlined? Over the D, now the We did this little, so I could get that note, and I did this. We can just walk right up there, like we don't even care what notes are in the scale. We just care about the rhythm and hitting those special notes that we know exist and are what the audience wants us to kind of nail over that 5 to walk us through that harmony and go, hey, this guy's thinking about his music, man. He's cool. He's a cat. And then you're back at that C from the original scale shape. Cool. So some tricks. You want some tricks? They want some tricks. Trixie, why don't you come over here for a minute? They want some tricks. Oh, no, stay over there. Sorry. Not those tricks. What in the hell was that? I'm telling you, this is what this cool jazz stuff works by being drunk. Some drunk guy played an F chord on the wrong set of strings and said, "Oh, darling." Oh, that was the Beatles or something. So anyways, but that is kind of a this chord. And here's the neat magic about that. This is a C major. Now what I'm going to do is take this major third and make it minor, but we still have the major 7 in there. So this is like a major minor chord. So it's that, when you have a major 7 in the minor third, there's a little bit of a rub there. It's not very common. It's not something you totally know from the major scale because that is melodic minor. It's kind of giving you a little melody to your minor. That likes to resolve to C, a C, but check this out. Also likes to resolve to C, so that's kind of the neat magic there. So you can kind of play when you can add this note to it, the 5, so we can go over the 5 chord, then there's the second part of the 5 chord, then the 1 chord hits. Let's try to hear it. Do a little bit of this time. Alright, sound kind of cool. So one time I just did 1 because I felt like that's kind of all I had time for and just resolved it. I tried in the beginning to get both in there. Sometimes you'll just get 1 in there. It's a cool thing you can do to do something else over the 5. And so now you're getting a ton of mileage because you got all this. You can get through 1 round just on the pentatonic. Then you can get another round just playing the blue over the 5. Then you can get another round playing the diminished arpeggio trick. Now look, I might have that name wrong, being a general idiot, but it follows that tritone row, and you're just putting you go ahead 3 frets, which is a minor third on each one. And here's an interesting thing to maybe should be in your brain, that there's a resolve note on each one there's 2 lines here, from the 3rd, from the 7th, from the 3rd, from the 7th, that flat 7th, from the 3rd, from the 7th. Same 2, same 2, same 2. Sounds like a ton of notes, but it's the same 2 notes. Now, this you consider that one group. this one resolves in all the resolved notes are inside. It's one of those two inside remaining frets. From the third, you got to remember the next note is that fourth, so you're right next to the beginning note. When I am down on from the 7, it's the resolved note is going to be a step down from the outside. So it's the choice of those two frets. It's the choice toward the body of the guitar. So right here, toward the headstock on this one, all the wrong notes. So that was totally messed up. How about we try again? Cool. And it's kind of cool how you could hear that went wrong, right? Because these tend to be it shows you, your mind knows what kind of to predict. If someone went, it's going to probably be. So yeah, I think that alone should leave this lesson with giving you this massive ton of cool stuff to play. And I didn't go over this, and so we'll do a little something quick, and we'll get the hell out of here. So there's some blues tricks you can do over this too. Over the C. Hey, jazz came out of the blues, right? You can't do that. I don't think you want that flavor. I call that a flavor over the entire progression. There's some definitely different kind of things you could be doing and suggesting, but if you need some mileage and you got a little boring for a second, you can always throw a over the C and a. So what notes are those? Let me erase this right now. So starting here with this one with the V in it, V, and then I don't know what I'm doing. V, and then we're going from that V to the blue note right next door, up one fret, and then to the other gray note and the E string, and we're hammering. Okay, you can just see that. And you can hear it. I think if you got your guitar in your hands, then you should be good to go. So, and our other one here is starting from this, we're going to start from this V note here. And we're trying to end up there at our target there. So we're going to the blue notes, ignoring everything else. We're just going from the V. We're down here. Where the hell are you? We're down here. We're underneath our root note, the C on our 6th string, so because we should know there's our C major triad, root 3 5, so there's our 3. We're basically just going flat 3, major 3, and there's that flat 3 trick again that we went over before. And let's get into the, it's a G. Alright. So, like and subscribe, all that stuff I say. Please check the links below. Also, hopefully I'll remember to include the link to this backing track. But if you just type in 251 practice, then you'll, 251 key of C. Or even put major 251 key of C, or just put 251 key of C, jazz backing track, and you should be able to find this almost exact track or one just like it. And it's great. It's nice and straightforward. It's got the basics of the chords, but there's a little embellishment, little chord stuff, vamp happening, some good comping. That's what I wanted to say, happening over the progression. So. I'll leave that in the link. Let me know what you think. Comments are definitely needed. We need some interaction to happen on this channel, so I can, create a stupid user's comments for all the annoying shit that always happens, right? And or maybe you don't want to have that kind of, what's that? Spectre Sound Studios has always got that butthurt of the week or something. That's always really good. Some ideas for what you guys want to know, or something that you didn't understand from the lesson, just say, but hey, what it is. And remember, ultimately, if you're checking out these lessons and you're like, what in the hell are all these dots here? What is all this guy talking about? Hey, look, some people do catch right on to this, where we're going here. It is sometimes a braille to some. If you spend some time and you're interested in learning a slick way to learn some tricks on the guitar, you kind of focus and you learn what's going on here. And if you don't care that much and you're hell-bent on learning some Green Day or something, then you do that. It's cool. But this would be in a fret box. I did want to say that this was a little alien to my usual lessons, where I put everything in a nice on-screen, understandable fret box here. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Method once again, bringing you awesome, cool new stuff to really set you to that next level. The easiest 251. Let me know if this was the easiest 251 lesson you've ever seen. You guys are the best. Have a good day.